Good afternoon, my favorite art students. Today, we are going to be making a paper mache mushroom. It's going to be so much fun. This is probably going to be a two-step process for you, where you'll make the cap of the mushroom first, let it dry, and then come back later to make the rest of your mushroom. Your first step is gathering all your supplies. You're going to need to get your paper tube, your tissue paper colors that came in your box, a rubber balloon, your sponge brush. Make sure after the first day or the first step that you wash this out really well with warm soapy water, lots of water, so that you can still use this brush for the second half. You're going to see two bowls in your box. One will be for mixing the paint and one's for the alternate if you want to make a separate little project. You're going to have some masking tape, some painter's tape. You're going to have some Elmer's glue. You're going to have some brown paper bag or some newspaper. And in your bag, it will come in a big sheet. I want you to take, as your very first step, it's going to be to shred it down, okay? So tear a big pile of paper for me, okay? That's step number one. At any time during this video, if you need a little more time to do a step that I'm going to rush through because I prepped it, go ahead and pause the video before moving on, okay? So step number one is shredding your paper. Step number two is going to be blowing up your balloon. So let's blow up our balloons. Let me find my tube. Is that going to be a good mushroom cap size, guys? I'm going to make mine a little bigger. And then tie it on, okay? So I'm going to set my balloon to the side for a second. And I'm going to mix up my paint, or my, my Elmer's glue and water. For Elmer's gluing with paper mache, you could also use something like decoupage. It's already made for this process. But for this, we're going to use Elmer's. I'm going to put a good puddle inside of our bowl. Don't feel like you have to put too much to start with, okay? You can always add more as you move along. And then I have a glass with warm water in it, okay? A mason jar with water. I'm going to pour in not quite the same amount as I had of the glue, okay? It's going to be a slightly runnier. And then you're going to take your sponge brush and you're going to stir it until it's nice and mixed together and not streaky, okay? Back out of the video, kiddo. Haley was going to peek in the video, but she hasn't brushed her hair yet. Okay. So here we have our paper. We're going to dip it in our bowl. I'm going to set my balloon in the second bowl. I think that's going to be helpful. So I've dipped a piece of paper in, and I'm dredging it through there, just like you would dredge some French toast in your egg batter. Make sure you you can either use your fingers or the side of the bowl, but I'm going to squeegee part of this glue mixture off so it doesn't drip all over my surface that I'm working on. And I'm just going to lay it on. Okay. You see where that's stuck nicely to the balloon? So we're going to do this process over and over and over again. I'm not going to cover my entire balloon because I only want half of a mushroom cap, a dome for my mushroom cap, half of a sphere. So I will look at my balloon and go halfway down is all, okay? And then I'm going to stop. We're going to put layers and layers and layers of this on to where it's nice and thick. Then we will let it dry. This is why it's probably going to be a 2-day or an early morning to evening process, okay? Luckily, if you're here in Ellensburg like I am, it's gonna be hot. So we, my balloon's escaping, guys. So we will be able to do this process and then sit it outside in the sunshine, and it will dry really quick. Okay, I'm having a little bit of difficulties here with this running away from me. Maybe my cup will hold it better. Nope. Just gotta do a couple more here. Make sure you're working on a surface that can be cleaned up afterwards with warm soapy water. A sponge or a cloth would work great for this, because it's gonna get messy. You can use your little spongy brush if you don't want your fingers to get in. You can go like this and smooth it out. See, I'm smoothing all those little edges. But I don't mind if my hands get a little sticky. So I'm gonna keep going with my hands more. And I will have to mix up more, because I did not mix up nearly enough for this paper. It's super thirsty. And everything's staticky, so the bowl's turning. I was going to suggest putting this in a cup or the bowl outside to dry. Now, if it's too windy or breezy, you might have more luck taking a clothespin and clipping it to a branch out in your yard, or if you have a clothesline or a swing set you can clip something to, that might be better than the bowl. Make sure you rotate it. Make sure that you overlap your pieces of paper, because you don't want to leave any weak spots where the holes would be. Okay, so lots of layers. Make it nice and thick. I'm going to mix up a little bit more. I should have brought a bowl to wash my hands out, because I don't have a sink in my office here. Instead, we'll just make a sticky mess, and then I'll have to do a lot of cleaning afterwards. Okay, more glue. A little bit more water. And stir it really well, okay? Can you see it off to the side here? Let's stir all of that in again. Squeegee it out of the sponge if you're not going to keep using the sponge, because there's a lot hiding in there. And keep on layering. Don't forget to turn your balloon occasionally. Smoothing it out. That one I didn't get quite as much of the goop off, so I'm going to make sure the next one's a little drier and layer on top of the really wet one. So sticky. Smooth it on, layer it out. Now, if you're one of our younger students, or if you want to do this project a little bit quicker than the balloon method will be, you could take one of the bowls that we have here, and you could take and hook the bowl. You can tape the bowl from the underside with the masking tape that was included in your kit. You could tape the bowl on here, and you could build on top of your tube. Like, let me see if I can do this without making a huge mess. So you could put this on here and tape it from the underneath side where the gills of the mushroom would be. You could tape that into place, and you could paper mache on top of this plastic if you want to simplify this project a little bit for your skill level. For those older students or those with more time, the balloon method is going to be a lot of fun. It's also nice because the balloon is going to be a little bigger than the bowl. And then, once it's totally dry, you can pop the balloon from under it, and it will shrink right out, leaving you just a little paper bowl. Now for my mushroom and the amount of paper that I have, I'm going to use a little more than half perhaps on my balloon. And I'm going to leave a little bit of paper left over so that when I come back to this project and work on the stem, I can add some texture to my stem of my mushroom too, so that it's not just a straight up and down cylinder. This crinkly bag is going to make such a wonderful texture for our mushroom top. So I'm going to continue layering my mushroom. This is getting thick enough maybe on this side. I want you to do about 3 to 5 layers of paper, depending on how big your pieces of paper look. I want you to make sure it feels kind of thick and solid. All of the little grooves and edges need to be pushed down smooth, either with your finger or with your little included sponge brush. These work really good for smoothing out the edges. Go ahead and smooth it all down, and then either go put it in a cup outside so it can dry, or maybe clothespin it to something so it can hang upside down like this, like a branch of a tree or the edge of your swing set or something like that. Let it dry completely, and I will see you for the next section of this video. Hello my favorite art students, how are you doing? This is Amy Davison, I'm Amy Davison, and I'm returning to do part 2 of our paper mache mushroom. So in our first part of our video, we took a balloon and we covered the top with paper mache, and then we set it out, hung it upside down, and let it dry. Okay, so we are now on the step where this is completely hard and dry. It is still delicate, but it is also hopefully substantial enough to hold up to this next step. We're going to take our balloon And I have a little pin here. You can use a piece of pencil, a sharp pencil, or even like a pair of scissors to put a tiny snip. I'm going to put just a tiny hole right here. I don't want it to pop fast. We're just going to slowly deflate our balloon. Mine came loose already. Look at that. But yours is probably going to be a little more stuck. And you can see how I'm slowly letting my air out. If your balloon is more stuck in there than mine is, which is normally what happens, you're going to maybe have to gently wiggle it and pull it, okay, while it continues to deflate. Maybe even put another hole in it as it gets lower. But mine is already out. So that was easy. Our next step, now you have an empty dome. If you need to, you can pick out any pieces of balloon you want, or you can leave them in there and cover them with the next step with some more paper mache. I'd probably pick them out because I would like to start with a nice clean area. So our next step for today is to mix up some more of our glue and water. I'm going to put a fairly good amount in here. Hopefully I have enough glue. My bottle is kind of empty, you guys. Now in your kit, you all started out with a brand new glue bottle, so you still should have about at least half of a bottle of glue, if not a little more. I'm just working off of a bottle I had here at home. I use my sponge brush to stir this into a nice, smooth looking mixture. Okay, there you go. That's what it looks like. We're going to set that carefully off to the side for a minute. We are going to work on putting our stem or our stalk into our mushroom, okay? On a flower, it's a stem. On a mushroom, it's a stalk. See if this will balance for a second. There we go. Now using your masking tape that came in your kit, you're going to tear off a piece that is about 2 inches long. Doesn't have to be precise. Just needs to be big enough that you can put part of it on your stem and still have enough to hook to your cap, okay? Like this. Now we are going to take another piece of tape in the same size and add it to the opposite side of our stalk. And you're going to work your way around inside here. And you're going to put in probably, 5 or 6 of these to make it nice and stable. If you really want to make it super strong, you could cover a lot more of it. Okay, guys? Did you guys know that the part of a mushroom that we are making and the part that you eat is called the fruit of the plant? It's funny because mushrooms are a fungus, right? But we still call it the fruiting part. The network that grows with a mushroom underground is called the mycella, or in plural, the mycelium. All right, let's see if we have this on strong enough. I'm going to wrap it around, make sure that it's hooked to the stalk. Give it a little gentle shake. Don't shake it real hard, okay? You can see in here where I have my tape, kind of coming out in an asterisk or a star shape. I'm going to make sure it's all nice and tight in there. Now the next part that we are doing is covering all of this blue tape, okay? In this part, my goal is, I have two goals here. One is to cover up any of the colorful masking tape that I just put in, because I want mine to be all earth tones inside of my mushroom and not bright. My second part of this is that by adding all of these layers of paper, it's like building a cast on an arm or a leg or anything like that, and it will help make it much stronger. So while our paper mache is overall kind of delicate, this will not just, if we do it right, it won't fall apart the first time that we touch it or use it as a decoration. Okay, I'm dipping my pieces of paper and I'm squeegeeing it off with my fingers. You can also use your sponge brush if that works better for you. Do you guys like it when art gets messy like this, or does it make your hands feel, ooh? I don't mind. I think it's kind of fun. Makes me think of making mud pies when I was little. Do you guys know the parts of a mushroom? I think I might have asked that in part 1. But we have the cap of a mushroom here. And we have the stalk, which is this, like the stem. Some mushroom have things called gills. And if you want to fold a piece of an accordion type piece of paper from your paper bag, or even cutting out the bag that your kit came in, you can glue this in here if you want to have some more texture inside, and that can be your gills, okay? I'm going to leave mine a little more simple this time, though. For our younger learners, they might be happy with just having the tape in here and not covering all of this with the paper mache. And maybe they'd even like to make your entire stem a bright color. That masking tape would look really cool in the inside here, huh? Okay, mine is almost covered. A couple more pieces here. I am going a little quick with this, just so that my videos aren't too long. Make sure that you guys take your time and pause this video as much as you need to catch up to the steps, okay? I don't want you guys to feel rushed. You guys have all the time to make a beautiful, beautiful mushroom. Do you know why mushrooms make the best of friends? Because he is a fun guy. Okay, so I have made my mushroom here. You guys can smooth this out a little bit better, or you can leave it have some texture. But you can see where my tape is now covered. Ta-da! Now, to make our mushroom have a little more stability, let me grab a rag real quick and I'm going to clean my hand off. To make our mushroom have a little more stability, we want the base of our stem. What did I call it earlier? This part. We want it to be thicker. So here is my already finished mushroom that I did. And you can see that the base is not just tube shape. I added more structure there so that when it rests, it doesn't tip over real easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our masking tape. And we're going to give ourselves some form so that it's easier. I'm going to take some tape and I'm going to pinch it right here. About halfway up, I pinched it. See? And I am going to take and put the bumpier part up high and use the flatter part to tape it on. This part's going to be loose for now. Okay, can wave at you. Hi guys, I'm Fun Guy. And I'm going to work my way around my mushroom, repeating this process. I'm going to do 4, maybe 5 of these. Tearing off I would say a 2 to 4 piece of tape, okay? It can go up a little higher in some spots, it can go lower in spots. The main thing is that when we start paper macheing, we're going to want this part to be flat so that we have a nice flat spot. So our mushroom isn't all topsy-turvy. And you can see I'm smushing those on, so this is what it looks like. Kind of looks like the fins on a rocket ship. I'm going to squeeze one more right here, okay guys? Nice and tight. Now that I have those on, we're going to continue to build with a little more tape to make it strong, okay? And by doing that, it's hard for me to show you guys as I'm working on that. I just wrapped a piece horizontally and I let it go up and over, up and over. Because I don't want my fins shifting. Let me see if I can do it upside down in the camera. Like that. And then I went up and over. And then I went like that. It doesn't necessarily have to touch tight all the way around because we're wanting to kind of build that base. Right now, it is all about that base. Do we have any Megan Trainor fans out there? Fun song. Okay, I just went down one section a little bit thicker. And I'm working my way down. See how that is looking? So we're getting a little more definition created. Have you guys ever sculpted with masking tape before? It's kind of interesting, huh? Okay, so this one, I'm going to let it be a little bit farther out. And my paper mache part will help me make that strong when we do the next step. Now, up here close to the stalk, I'm going to go and flatten it tight because I want it to be able to have that taper. I'll turn this around again, show you up here. Gonna take this here, bring it around, gonna smush it just a little bit on each of the peaks so it stays in place, but I'm not focusing on rubbing real hard between on the kind of valley spot there. I'm gonna take and tuck a few of these pieces that are hanging And I'm going to kind of crease it so that it's starting to form a flat surface right here, okay? Can you guys see that? I want this to be flat. So I'm going to push this one down, and I'm going to bring and push this one down so that I don't have big bumpies here. Alright, so from this end, this is what it looks like right now. It looks like the end of a piece of Twizzlers licorice, or red vine licorice. Now, we go back to our glue and paper, okay? And the goal here is going to be covering all of our tape, as well as building it even further out. You're going to put it on and you're going to smooth it down, okay? Now for this part, I'm starting with some longer skinny strips. Some of them I'm going to kind of wrap into my tube for the first layer. And you might have to come back and forth and fix it a few times, okay? They're kind of sticking to my fingers extra right now. Remember to overlap your pieces of paper. And it's a good idea if you're making this to kind of crisscross the direction that your paper goes. That'll add more strength to it. Super sticky. And we're gonna, hopefully not knock it down on my lap. Keep building on this. What do you think? Are you making some fun shapes here yet? And please remember, you can pause the video if you need to take a little break, if you need to let a section dry and come back. If it's sticking to your fingers way too much, you can stop for a while and come back. Just make sure that you always wash your foam brush well, because these can last a while if you take care of them. But if you let the glue dry in them, they just get really sad really fast. Okay, you can see where I'm kind of pinching some of my sections of paper to be able to build more of that fin shape. See? Smoothing it out. You can use your foam brush, you can use your finger. So we're starting a new program that some of you students might be familiar with from your own grade schools, and it's called Flipgrid. So during the summer here of 2020, Gallery 1 is going to have a Flipgrid board where you can log in and talk to me. I'm Amy again, Amy Davison. You can talk to me or Krista, who did our clay kit. Becky and Jackie will be on there, and Miranda, so that if you want to do a show and tell and show us your artwork, you totally can. Get your parents' permission to sign up for Flipgrid, and then find us at Gallery 1 and it's going to be in your pamphlet because I can't remember right now. But we would love for you guys to look in your pamphlet, find us, and look it up so that we can chat with you. You can show us your artwork. You can also go on there to ask us any questions if you need help. If something just isn't working for you, we wanted to have a platform where we are connected. Because we're all used to seeing you guys in person and teaching when you're right by us. And we really miss that this summer. Gonna smooth these little loose edges. Gonna fold that one over and pinch it down a little. I think I'm gonna add another piece on it so it's not so abrupt though. Oh yeah, that's better. Take your time building it out, smoothing down edges. There can be some wrinkles on here. Mushrooms come in many different shapes and forms. We just learned last week on a cooking show that if you want to cook mushrooms, if you want to saute mushrooms, but you want to cut back on the butter and oil that you're using, microwave your mushrooms for a couple minutes. Your little button mushrooms or whatever come from the grocery store. You can microwave them for a couple minutes and it helps remove some of the moisture, and then they don't soak up as much oil, making them a little healthier to eat. Now, for the sake of having my video not be too long, I am going to say that that's about good. If I was doing this for just my own time, I probably would go ahead and build this out a little bit bigger. But I think this is pretty good to show you guys what I want. So you can see that I've kind of been taking and tucking these pieces in so that I have these little kind of triangle bits still added around there. It still has kind of a star shape with a hollow center. You guys can cover the entire center up if you want, either way. I, for now, am just going to set it on a piece of paper so it doesn't glue to my surface. Because I want to show you guys, oops, I see a piece that fell off. Let me take my brush and smooth that in. Oh yeah, that's better. Taking my brush and I'm smoothing down my edges that came a little bit loose when it stuck to my own fingers. We want this to be nice and glued down. We don't want it to fall apart. And I need one piece to cover some blue right here. One more little piece. I just said one more. One more, but one more. There. Ooh, much better. Okay. So our next step to making our mushroom beautiful is going to be adding some color to the top. In your kits, you have a piece of red tissue paper, but you also have colored masking tapes. So you can take little bits and pieces of your masking tape and cover this, just like we did the paper mache pretty much, but without the glue step. You can go ahead and cover it that way. Or what I'm going to do is continue to paper mache some of the tissue paper on top. Now the challenge with the tissue paper is that it is going to be thinner than the other paper that was first in your kit to make this, either the brown craft paper or the lighter newsprint, depending on which kit you got. We have two different types of paper macheing going on. I'm mixing up a little more glue because I used up all of it on that last step. A little more glue and water. And like I was saying, the tissue paper is going to be a little bit thinner. So it doesn't work very good to dredge it in here and then squeegee it. What I found works best is once you have your glue and water all stirred and soft like this, what I did, I still tore my tissue paper in pieces, okay? So let's take and tear some pieces. Bye-bye, brown paper. And now I have a mess to clean up. Don't do that at home. Your parents won't appreciate it. Okay, so I'm tearing up pieces of paper. Some are long, some are skinny, some are triangles. Isn't this relaxing, tearing this paper? It's also good bilateral motion, like this. Tearing paper will help a preschooler learn how to use scissors later better. Okay, so it's not going to work very good to dip your tissue paper and dredge it because it's just going to get way too soggy way too fast. So what we're going to do is go ahead and paint a section of this with your sponge brush, making sure not to miss any of that section. Okay, can you see that it's shiny there? That's what we're looking for. A nice little thin layer of glue. Then we're going to stick our tissue paper on it and press it in. Now, I would recommend taking a break and letting this part dry if you have that possibility in your project time. Because right now I can feel that my underneath side where we attached the, in here, where we attached that part, it's really wobbly still. If you can let that dry, you're gonna probably be a little more successful. Oh, we're doing this. Okay, so I have my first piece patched on. It's kind of like putting gold leafing on. We're going to go ahead and put another layer of wet glue going out a ways. And I have one piece right here that is straighter, and I'm going to try and fit that carefully along this edge right here. Can you see? That almost worked perfect. Push it down. Some wrinkles are okay. It gives it character. And I'm going to kind of squish this part because I am trying to keep mine from wrapping under. But if you want to wrap yours under, that's totally cool too. Okay, so I have that dry one on, and I'm going to seal it in by brushing over it gently. Now, don't brush real hard because it will tear it. And once you get it on, don't keep brushing the same spot for too long or it'll start tearing it out too. This is kind of a delicate touch time. Okay, I'm going to take this. I'm going to try and do this in the video backwards. Okay, I'm lining it up. Oh, you can see I just tore that because my thumb was too heavy. We'll patch that with another little piece. Tap it down into place and glue this down. Now I'm going to take a little piece here to help me cover my holes that I made because I pushed too hard. Line that up. Line that one up. Two little patches. Can you tell? Kind of. But they're drier. And I'm going to delicately this time, like I was warning you, go over that. Now I have a hole here, so I'm going to fit in this piece. Letting them overlap is totally fine. It doesn't have to be super skinny there if that's easier for you. I'm going to add this big piece right on here, like that. And I think I can lift that up a little bit. And I need a little bit of glue up on top. Paper mache is a really fun process, you guys. You can build really cool sculptures with this. It just takes a couple of supplies. I was going to say ingredients, because I like to bake. It takes a couple of ingredients, a little bit of glue, some paper, maybe some cardboard, or a balloon, and then you can just build all kinds of cool things. And they're really lightweight. If you're building something that is out of paper mache and you want it to last for a really long time, you can even seal it with a waterproofing spray or sealant that you can brush into place. Mine are just going to be kept in my office, so I'm not going to worry about that. But if you're putting things like glitter on there or paint that might flake off, you might want to put like a layer of waterproof Mod Podge on there. Okay, how's your mushroom looking? I'm loving it. I don't think I need it that long. I'm going to take that corner off. Kind of like it, sort of speckled. You could leave a few brown spots if you felt like it. Look like your mushroom is getting a little bit older that way, huh? Well, mushrooms are generally considered a plant. Even though they're a fungus, they kind of fall into the plant category. They are different because they don't have chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the part that turns like a your lettuce green or a leaf green. And did you know that mushrooms, when they eat from the organic matter that's in the dirt and the ground? Or like rotting tree trunks or roots or old leaves. Different mushrooms like to grow with other trees, with specific types of trees, and they create a symbiotic relationship. And the mushroom helps eat up some of the stuff that's down under them and break it down, so they eat and then they help the tree. And what they eat is carbs. Isn't that funny? Just like you and me when we eat some bread or pasta. Okay. I'm almost done putting the top pieces on. Let's see if I have another good piece here. Ooh, perfect. Pat it down gently. Smooth it all over. Making sure to cover all of those pieces to get it glued down and secure, but not rip it. And once you've gone around here, while it's still damp, you can kind of use your brush. If you need to seal any of the seams up, you can finish those. And pat one little patch. Boop. I see two spots where I missed just a tiny corner. My lights that I put in here so you guys can see me well put a glare on this surface, so I missed a few spots because I'm shadowed on the back side. Okay. Lovely. I have one more piece. If you guys feel like your first layer was a little too thin, you can keep going and adding more layers. I'm pretty happy with this paper's thickness though. I think it covered just right. So there is our red mushroom top. Now, you could stop here if you wanted, but I want to make mine a little bit cuter. See if I can squeeze out just a tiny more glue. I need to put glue on my grocery list. Okay, here we go. A little more water, just a tiny bit because I didn't get much glue in there. Now we're going to add some dots to my mushroom because I want it to be cute, kind of like the mushrooms in Mario. I brushed one side of this, I'm sticking it down, and then I'm brushing over to seal all of its edges down. Okay, if you can see, I'm kind of starting in the middle of my circle and brushing outward, like the rays of a sunshine. Okay. You can also dip both sides if you feel like it. I'm going right here. And I'm going to brush it outward all around. And if it gets a little wrinkle, because you're fitting the round shape on over all the other pieces of paper, that's okay. Just smooth it out and let that wrinkle kind of seal in on itself. I'm going to put one right here on top. Slightly off center. You can also use your finger if you like the tactile experience of the glue. You could use your sponge, you can use your fingers. There we go. I think it feels kind of like the slip in this pottery studio. If you guys have ever joined Krista or done pottery somewhere else, you know that the slip is kind of that runny, sticky part that holds things together. Same idea here. You're just holding the paper in place. Oh, I'm going to put one more right here. Now, to make mine a little cuter, I have a couple pieces. I have one, I think I have two circles here. One circle that I cut in half to have a little half moon. And I'm going to line that up along the edge here, as if that dot would have grown clear off the edge, okay? Oops. I don't like putting a false eyelash on. There we go. I have another one that I'm going to put over here. Ta-da! Isn't that pretty? I think I want one more. I'm going to grab my scissors real quick. You could also tear this in half if you want. I have all my art supplies here, so I grabbed scissors. Okay. I have a dot way over there. I'm going to put this one here. I'm going to off-center it so it's not totally in line with this piece. Smooth it out. Where should we put the other one? 1, 2, 3. Right there's a hole. Okay. Now I feel like we need to make like a little paper mache frog or fairy or something to sit with our mushroom. What kind of other paper mache things do you think you guys would like to do? You guys can leave us a comment, or you could go on to our Flipgrid. If you made more things to make this into a whole landscape, that'd be so cool. Okay. So here we have a mushroom. We have its cap. We have the stalk. And if we put the little fluted piece in there, we could have some gills. Isn't that cool? I have a short one and a tall one. They can hang out together and make a cute little mushroom farm. I hope you guys had a wonderful time making this project. I know I sure did. And I want to thank you for being a part of our Gallery 1 summer kits, our Art2GO kits. I look forward to hearing from you, and I even more look forward to seeing that you're creative. I love that you guys are taking the time to do something fun with us. Have a wonderful summer, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye. Take care.